After several years of a phenomenally successful oil exploration, Uganda could be within the top 50 range of oil-producing countries in the world, with estimated reserves of about 2.5 billion barrels of commercially viable oil resources. Tullow Oil, the leading operator in the country, has set end of year 2012 as the new timeline for first commercial oil production. Recently, the company sold stakes in 3 exploration blocks to France's Total and China's Sinopec, paving way for production.
For us to deliver this, we have to invest quite a lot at this stage. We have to carry out a lot of seismic data to understand what lies underneath. We have to be able to understand how the wells are going to be performing. First oil will be somewhere towards the end of 2012, but this will be initially a few thousand barrels, which will be gradually ramped up to a peak of maybe about 200,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day.
Oil company Tullow says among other infrastructure challenges, Uganda needs a pipeline to export the extra crude to Kenya's port of Mombasa. This, the company says, is because the expected total output of 200,000 barrels a day would be more than what the country can consume. But Ruben Kashambuzi, the chief technical advisor to the Ministry of Energy, suggests the pipeline idea would be too expensive.
You are going to have a heated pipeline from here to Mombasa. Imagine the amount of power you are going to need to heat a pipeline which is 1,300 kilometers long. Now imagine that there is a power failure and a section of this pipe solidifies. There is the issue of the security of the pipeline itself. And then you'd need several $1 million to maintain it every year.
In 2008, the East African Community adopted a strategy for the development of regional refineries. This is supposed to facilitate provision of efficient and reliable delivery of oil products throughout the region.
This is a project which is about of the order of $2 billion. And it's a very profitable project, by the way. It has an internal rate of return of 20 to 30%. So it's a very good project. And in terms of ownership, the government will be looking at having a stake in it as government, but also the partner states. They will be having a stake in it. And then the investors who are here.
Tullow has put the figure needed to kickstart the production phase at about $10 billion. Given the speed at which the country is now moving to produce oil, stakeholders in the industry believe key institutions needed to manage the country's oil sector are yet to be set up.
We have the Oil Exploration Act 1985. This law is very insufficient. It cannot provide for the oil industry. Right now we are getting capital gains tax. But if you ask any Ugandan where that capital gains tax is going, or where it is kept, or what it is going to be used for, we cannot.
We have made proposals, and I believe that in the not too distant future, we shall have institutions. This is the National Oil Company, the Petroleum Authority, and the Petroleum Directorate. The Directorate will be dealing with licensing, policy, resource assessment. The authority, of course, is for regulation. And the National Oil Company is to deal with the commercial aspects of the industry.
Government is also adopting a new licensing regime that will see oil produced for a longer period of time. Under the new regime, oil companies will be required to bid for licenses as opposed to the earlier open-door policy, which was deemed to be uncompetitive. But some members of the civil society say efforts geared towards preparing the public for this new industry are too slow.
The population of Hoima town has more than tripled in the last 4 years because of this rush. A kilo of posho in Hoima is more expensive than a kilo of posho in Kampala. So what's the poor man going to do?
We do not want in 5 years to see children dying of malnutrition, to see children without water, homes without firewood, just because land was taken away for oil exploration, for oil production, without giving a feasible alternative.
Must people really sell land? because you could lease that land and continue deriving benefit from the land. But because of ignorance, people are doing outright sale.
By now, we should be sending plane loads of people to train. You know, some should be returning, others are going. So government must put resources where its interests are.
Uganda will see the first oil drop by end of 2012. However, people here in Bulisa are already benefiting from the oil wealth. This is the first and the biggest health center in this whole region. It is believed that once production kicks off, it is surely going to steer the country to development. I'm Michael Baleke, NTV in Bulisa.